I can officially confirm Sean Payton is on the internet. He was asked about the trade rumors from Tom Pelissero. He commented, we're going to look at some quotes from Sean, from George Paton, and some other news and rumors stemming from the NFL annual meeting in Phoenix today, where the Broncos, amongst 15 other AFC teams, spoke to the media. Before we get to the trade rumors, we crossed 13,000 subs over the weekend, so you know what that means. We are doing 13 shots for 13,000 subs at the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned all the way through. But Sean Payton, he has entered the chat. So he spoke to Tom Pelissero on Sunday about the trade rumors involving Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. Let's jump into the quote itself. Here's what Payton said. I see and read just like everyone else does. Then occasionally, when someone really crowds the plate, I throw a fastball right at their chin, and they back up, and they're like, all right. And so I haven't thrown any fastballs lately, but we're not trading those two players. I've got two big takeaways from that last sentence. Number one, I can confirm Sean Payton watches the Broncos Breakdown, right? He watches, he tunes in, he goes, these motherfuckers are talking about trading these two guys. Not happening. Two, this does not actually eliminate the possibility of a trade. I'm not saying that just so I can continue talking on this subject and get more clicks out of it. I do believe in my heart of hearts that Sean Payton saying we're not trading those two guys doesn't actually rule out a possible trade. I say that from a historian standpoint where, not too old, I remember when the Giants said, we did not just extend Odell Beckham Jr. to trade him. 1 week later, he was traded to the Cleveland Browns. So don't see this and go, all right, it's over, pack it up, we're going home. Here's also what Sean Payton said. When people call and the phone rings like it does this time of year, George Payton's job is to pick it up and say, hey, tell you what, we're not. And so we've received calls, you bet. Those are two good football players. But we're in the business of gathering talent right now. Why do people call? Because they know we're void of draft picks and that we might, because there was some discussions a year ago, I think, regarding Courtland. But we like the current group that we're working with. To me, I read this as Denver loosely put out some, we're open for business on trading these two players. We got a ridiculously high asking price. Maybe not ridiculously. We've got a high asking price. No one met it? Okay, cool. We never really wanted to trade them anyway. We just wanted to see what we could get. We didn't get a good enough offer. So now we're going to act like we were never interested in trading them away so that when OTAs and training camp rolls around, they don't come into town all upset that we spent a good chunk of the offseason trying to trade them, right? Now they can sort of cover their derrieres and go, no, we never wanted to trade you. Yeah, we got calls, but we never took them seriously. I bet they took them a little bit more seriously than they're indicating. Now, Mike Kliss had a very interesting write-up about this, and I wanted to share this little bit with you guys. The Broncos, though, were asking for a lot. A second-round draft pick to be exact. Same for Jerry Jeudy, another Broncos receiver who generated interest, but Denver wouldn't budge unless they got a first-round pick. So I really doubt anyone ever offered a second-rounder for Courtland Sutton, a former second-round pick himself, who's on a big-ish contract, $14, $15 million base salary a team would pick up if they traded for him. And he's been relatively underwhelming the last two seasons. So I'm sure they never got a second for him. As for Jerry Jeudy, I'm guessing they wanted a first-round pick from a team like the Patriots, who were picking 14th overall. Way different than, say, the Cowboys or the Giants, who are in the mid-20s. You know what I'm saying? So I think a first for Jeudy could end up coming through, but I really doubt any team is ever going to offer a second for Courtland Sutton. I'm sure they're just going to be optimistic and hope that Courtland Sutton gets back to that 1,000-yard performance he had a few years ago. And if not, c'est la vie, but they didn't want to move on from him for just a bag of footballs, as I like to say. So if you had to pick an option, which path would you rather go down? Getting a first-round pick for Jerry Jeudy or getting a second-rounder for Courtland Sutton? I'd rather go the Courtland Sutton route. I think if you could hold on to Jeudy and pick up a second, that's a much nicer outcome than getting a first-round pick for Jeudy, hoping that the player is as good as Jerry Jeudy, which is not always the case in the NFL draft, and then hoping Courtland Sutton gets back to that 1,000-yard performance he had a few years ago. So George Paton also spoke to the media today. Here's what Georgie said. I think it's pretty common every offseason. New coach, not a real deep receiver draft. I would say a number of teams have called on those players, but it's not something we're interested in doing. You should watch out for a draft day trade here. That little bit, that one little couple words there of it's not a very deep receiver class. You know what that tells me? I think that's George Paton trying to speak between the lines, right? To some GM saying, we know it's not a good receiver class. If you're looking for a wide receiver and your top 3 guys are picked before you're on the clock, give us a call. We're not interested in trading him away. But if you offer us a first-round pick and more and we can't refuse, well, maybe then we would consider trading Jerry Jeudy away because, like we all know, and I'm just going to call it how we all see it, it's not a very deep receiver class. So if we start seeing guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison start getting a run in the early to mid-first round, maybe teams picking in the 20s in round 1 go, well, the 4 guys we liked are all off the board. Now we call Denver. And before we offer just a first for Jerry Jeudy, now let's offer a first and a 4th because that's the best option to get a good receiver this year, and we're not finding one in this draft here. We've got more takeaways from their press conferences to get to in just a second, but the NFL draft hats for 2023 are out, and I like them. I've heard some mixed reviews. I think they're pretty cool if you ask me. Then again, I actually always kind of like the draft hats. I'm not a very big hat junkie, but if you like them too and you want to rock whatever pick the Broncos make is going to wear this year, chatsports.com/Broncos draft. I put that link in the comments and the description of today's show. I want to run through some tweets here of some awesome, just fire me up type of quotes from Sean and George Paton. Sean Payton on Broncos 2022 offense. It was a hard film to watch. I mean, that is a direct shot to Nathaniel Hackett and the New York Jets, or now New York Jets offensive coordinator, right? He is just calling it how he sees it. He even said the defense was good, the offense and special teams, atrocious. And those were 2 spots that Hackett came in as an offensive guy, brought his own special teams coordinator over, and they were disasters, no doubt about it. This from Mace. Sean Payton on Jarrett Stidham. We feel like he can become an NFL starter. Says he's smart, adds that quietly that was an important signing for us. I haven't actually spent a lot of time on this subject, but is Jarrett Stidham a dark horse to take over from Russell Wilson maybe earlier or like a shorter leash than we're all expecting? Or better yet, is Jarrett Stidham a candidate to take over from Russell Wilson after 2023? Or after 2024, and they're letting Jarrett Stidham kind of just sit in the wings for a little bit. He was quietly on the Patriots for a minute. He's probably entering, year 4, year 5 of his NFL career? Year 4, I think. He had 2 seasons with the Patriots, 1 with the Raiders. So, yeah, year 4 sounds about right, somewhere in that range. Just remember this tweet. If something, Russell Wilson starts playing poorly, clearly the coaching staff really likes Jarrett Stidham, and they would not be shy to make a move, I think. This from Mike Kliss. Another change with Broncos head coach this year. Payton, I do know we're playing tackle football, and you have to practice tackle football. He is just not even hiding at this point. He is making direct shots to Hackett and the way he ran this team last offseason with cahoots and flag football for the offseason. Mike Kliss also tweeted out, so starters will play in preseason? We're going to play all of them in the preseason. Absolutely we are. Absolutely we are. That's the preseason. A complete 180 and completely different, philosophical approach to the preseason. Which last year, hand up, I wasn't really all that upset with Hackett not playing some starters. I did say, if I remember correctly, I feel like as a new head coach, you should get more of a dress rehearsal in before the first week. But once Tim Patrick went down with the ACL, everyone got scared. It was no more playing starters. And then Jonas Griffith got hurt, and it was 1 too many, shut it down. It's football. Guys are going to get hurt. I would say I'd rather have that, but I'd rather run the risk of that than having a clunker of a first month of the season because no one's ready to play a full regular season game. Kliss also tweeted out, quit trying to replace Lloyd Cushenberry. Payton, We feel like he's certainly going to benefit from these additions. Ben Powers, Mike McGlinchey. We see him as our starting center. Yeah. So the signing of Kyle Fuller, the center, not the corner, over the weekend, I think it's just a backup move to compete with Luke Wattenberg. We'll see if they prioritize center early in the draft, but it sounds like it's going to be Cush for 2023, last year of his contract, and probably try and fix that position next offseason. Only so much you can do in one offseason. Now, that is it for today's show, but as promised, 13 shots for 13,000 subscribers. The road to 14K starts now. Patrick Seaman, he's going to be our bartender. We've got a different, good variety of beers and liqueurs and whatnot up here, so it's really dealer's choice for Patrick. He'll just start feeding to me one after another, and we'll start knocking these bad boys out. So, Patrick, once you get over here, I've got one or two lined up ready to go. And then as I finish them, just pick whatever you want and throw it down. You want to pop your head on screen. That way, yeah, see? He's here. Okay, here we go. Cannonball time, 13 shots for 13K subs. Thank you guys so much. Let's ride. Okay, that's one. Keep track. That's two. That's three. Let's start to add up. Cannonball, that's four, I think. Yeah. That's five. Six. I get a variety of stuff right now, too. 7. I'm only halfway. 8. 9. I did not think this through. I did not learn my lesson when it is for 12K subs. 10. 11. 12. He poured me an extra one, so I'm doing 14 now. We got to 14,000 subs, everyone. 13. Sorry, everyone. Let's go. Okay. I really shouldn't have shaken my head so violently there. That's going to do it for us on today's show. We'll sign off, and we'll see you guys later with more Broncos news and rumors.